Okay, people, the big fight is coming up. Brook versus Triple G. Who's gonna win? Well, this should be an interesting fight. I, for one, I'm looking forward to it. Now, there's a lot of hype around this fight for some reason, and I can understand that, but I think it's a little bit overdone myself. I don't really see that this is, first of all, let me just say something about both fighters. Uh, Triple G is a decent fighter, but he's not what he's made out to be. There's a lot of hype surrounding Triple G, and most of it is undeserved because, at the end of the day, when you look at his record, there's no elite fighter on Triple G's record. He has beaten none of the elite fighters. Uh, you know, uh, no one. I mean, his record is basically just journeyman fighters. Mostly people that lost before they even went inside the ring with him because of the hype. You know, so I don't really see what's all this hype about Triple G is. I mean, I said it before. I'm going to say it again. He has fought no one basically, and anybody that's honest and look at his record is gonna see that. I mean, so I don't understand where's this hype about how great he is, and he says he's a great fighter, and this and who did he beat to become a great fighter? That's what I want to know. Who did Triple G beat? Which one of the fighters that Triple G beat was a great fighter? So we can say, okay, he beat a great fighter. He beat, an elite fighter. Who? Give me the name. So, the hype around this guy is incredible. And, I'm going to say something else because, I mean, I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm not a Triple G hater. I don't hate Triple G, I just, I mean, he could be a great fighter. He might be a great fighter, but we haven't seen him in any great fights. I mean, you know, uh, seeking and destroying these guys that are just journeyman fighters is not the mark of a great fighter. I mean, I don't. There's nobody that really tested him. None of the fighters he fought, he was never in any danger of losing any of the fights he fought. It's not like, say Canelo who went up against Mayweather, against Trout, against Lara, against Cotto, all great fighters who he could have lost to. There was he could have lost to any one of those fighters. He lost to Mayweather. And some say he lost to Lara. Okay, but that fight could have went either way, and it's up to the challenger to take it from the champion. And Lara didn't really fight. He didn't really take it from him. I mean, he probably maybe slightly, you know, outpointed him maybe, but he didn't take the fight from him. So he got to get a champion the benefit of the doubt in that one. And Lara should have put up a better fight. He should have fought him like more like how Mayweather fought him. But Lara doesn't have the skills of a Mayweather, so he couldn't really do what Mayweather did. Okay, which just shows you again how great Mayweather really is. But that's a story for another day. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying to you people out there in the boxing world is, I like to know why is there so many hype around this guy who's been knocking out people, basically fighters of no consequence, no elite fighters, no top fighters, no great future Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Not one. And this guy's been in the business for all these years. He's 30 something years old, and he hasn't fought no one in all these years. Do you know how difficult that is to go your whole career without fighting anyone of any consequence? Do you know how hard that is? That takes work. It's not easy. That's taking cherry picking, and then you know, at the same time, you're making it look like people are ducking you. I mean, they got great PR, man. I don't know who the PR is, but that guy should get her out. That girl or woman or whoever should get a raise because they've done a great job building up and hyping up Triple G to people where people are, you even have fighters out there. Oh, he's a great fighter. Oh, yeah, yeah, he's going to do this. Come on, man. Don't believe the hype. I'm not buying it. I don't see. I'm not saying that Triple G couldn't be a great fighter, but I just haven't seen anything. He hasn't been tested. He hasn't been taken to the deep end. Nobody has done that to him yet, so we don't know how good he is. Okay, from what we see, he knocked out a few of these guys. Anybody could knock these guys out that he's been fighting. These guys ain't no real, real fighters. I mean, I mean, no top fighter. I'm not. I mean, boxing, is a brutal sport, so I can't really say that these guys are nobody. I'm never gonna say that, but at the end of the day, they're not top level opponents. And when you look at Canelo's record and then you compare it to Triple G's record, it's a big difference. You know, and Canelo is only 25 years old, the kid basically, and in his short career, relatively speaking, that is because he's been fighting from a kid, a youngster. But in his relatively short career, a relatively young age, he's fought the best fighter of his generation in Mayweather. Top. You can't get no better than that. He fought Mosley. He fought Trout. He fought Lara. And then he fought Cotto. And all those guys I just named could have beaten him. Okay? So he stepped up to the plate and challenged people that could have beaten him. I haven't seen Triple G done that. Okay, Triple G has not challenged anybody that could actually beat him. Every fight that he has taken was fight that we could say, oh, Triple G is gonna kill that guy. He's gonna run all over him, and that's exactly what happened. It's predictable. Okay, so he had never really been challenged as a fighter. Nobody has taken him into the long, deep end of the pool, and none of that. He's just easy fight after easy fight after easy fight. Now, when you have easy fight after easy fight after easy fight, what do you think is gonna happen? When the first time somebody take you to the deep end, you're probably gonna drown because you're not used to being out in the deep end. Okay, and if Book can take Triple G out to the deep end, he's probably gonna drown because he hasn't really had to dig deep to do anything. He has had all these easy fights handed to him his whole career. His whole career has been easy fights. So I don't really buy all this hype. You know, he could have fought uh, Laura. Laura challenged him more than one time. He ignored Laura. You know what I'm saying? It's like he never even heard Laura. you know, and the same with Andre Ward. He ducked Andre Ward. I mean, it's really good when you can duck people and make it seem like they're ducking you. I mean, it's a great skill, and his people are masters of that skill. They've mastered it. Okay, so I don't really rate Triple G simply not because I don't think he's did a I'm not. It's not a personal thing. I just gotta look at the guy's record, and I said to myself, well, this guy hasn't fought anybody. What's up? How are you gonna rate? Now I hear people talking about Triple G and Marvin Hagler in the same breath. What a disgrace! Who who does? Are you serious? You Where in this record can you compare the fights that Triple G had to what Marvin Hagler had? Are you talking about pound for pound of all time? People, he could be one of the greatest fighters of all time. What a joke. I mean, this is if it's sad when you think about it. I mean, all these people on this hype wagon running around talking about the greatest fighter of all time. How are you gonna say something about a fighter that hasn't fought anybody? Okay, and at the same time, you know, they're talking about Canelo. Hey, at the end of the day, Triple G has done nothing to deserve a fight with Canelo. And if I was Canelo, I would not fight him because he has done nothing to deserve a fight with Canelo. He has fought nobody. Okay? If I was Canelo, I would tell him, hey, go fight somebody before you come to me, man. You got to fight somebody first. Because what does Mayweather do when people try to challenge him and talk about, those young up and coming welterweight talking about, oh, I want to fight Mayweather. Mayweather tell him, hey, go fight somebody first and come back and see me when you got something on your record, man. Don't, you're not ready yet. And I'm the man. You don't just come to me and talk about you want to fight. You got to go fight somebody first. You got to deserve it. It's the same with Canelo. He's the man. Uh, his record speaks for itself. And let me repeat it. He fought the best ever of his generation against Mayweather. Can we say the same thing about Triple G? Okay, he fought Hall of Fame greats, Cotto, Lara, uh, Trout, Mosley. I mean, this guy fought the best of the best, all by the time he was 25 years old. Okay, I mean, it's not about Triple G and Canelo. I just wanted to add that in there because we have to keep things in perspective. So if I was Canelo, I'd just tell Triple G and his people, look, man, go fight somebody first and then come back and see me. As a matter of fact, the only way I'm going to fight you, fight Canelo, fight Lara first, and then come back and see me. Okay. You need to get at least two good fights on his belt before if he beat Book and then he beat Laura next, then he could take a fight. Then I would say Canelo should take a fight with him. If he could beat those two guys, then yeah, come on. I'll give you a fight if you beat those two guys. But you haven't beaten anybody, and you coming to me trying to fight for my title that I done paid my dues for, fighting the best of the best, and you just fight nobody your whole career. You've been in the business damn near God knows how long, and you haven't fought nobody your whole damn career. And now you want to come and fight me because you see I got a belt and you think I'm easy picking or whatever you might. I don't know what the hell you're thinking, but you coming for me now because you think you deserve. You don't deserve a chance at my belt because you haven't fought nobody for it. You need to go and fight somebody first. That's what I would tell him if I was Canelo. I don't know why Canelo don't do that, but I guess Canelo is like a humble guy, and So all these people out there talking about Canelo should fight Triple G, I don't see where they're coming from with that. You know what I mean? So, as a matter of fact, I heard, shout out to Dante's Boxing Nation. I heard Dante going on a rant about, Canelo should fight Triple G and this and that, and you can't compare Canelo to Mayweather because Mayweather, at an early age he was fighting this and hey, wait a minute, slow it down there, Dante, slow it down, baby. Let's take a look at this thing. At the age of 23, did May and I'm saying this because I'm a Mayweather fan. Mayweather forever. Okay, I'm a Mayweather fan. So I'm saying I'm speaking to you as a Mayweather fan. There's no bigger Mayweather fan than me. So let me just tell it like it is. Okay, at at 23 years old, who did Mayweather fight that was the best of his generation? Did he fight the best fighter of his generation at that age? No, because he was the best fighter of his generation. He didn't fight the best, but here it is. Canelo fought him. Canelo fought the best of his generation. Uh, you know, he fought top guys. Okay, Trout, Mosley, you know, Lara, Cotto, and that's another thing. And Cotto, I mean, people, that's one of the most underrated fighter that I've seen in a long time. Is Cotto. That Cotto is a great fighter, one of the top fighters of this generation. Okay, and Canelo beat him convincingly. Okay, now I will say one thing. I don't think he could have beat him if Canelo was a little younger. If Cotto was younger, if they had fought when Cotto was younger, I don't think that Canelo would have beaten him. Because I think I just think that Cotto could have beat him if he was younger. But by the time he fought Canelo, he's been through so many wars. That I don't think I think he's past his prime. I don't think that Canelo could have beat Cotto in his prime. That's just my thinking, and maybe some people might disagree with me on that, but that's just what I think. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. But he's fought great fights, so you can't compare Canelo's record to Triple G's record. So I don't see any reason why Canelo should have to fight Triple G. But like they want to force him to fight Triple G because why does Triple G deserve a fight with Canelo? No, he doesn't because he hasn't fought nobody. He has to fight somebody first. Okay, you don't just give a title, give a championship to people, get him somebody a championship fight when he hasn't really fought nobody or haven't really displayed any real, uh, you know, uh, I mean, he looks good against those guys he fought. I mean, most of them anyway. But even a couple of them gave him a tough time, and these guys are not. So I just don't see where Triple G is getting all these accolades from people talking about Marvin Hagler and Leonard Hearns and all of this. It's all hype, and I don't buy none of it. Okay, he's been ducking people his whole career. Triple G. I mean, not him personally. I don't want to make it personal because it's not him. I don't know him personally. I don't think he duck anybody. But the people that handles him, the people that handle his career, they've been guiding his career, keeping him away from tough fights. You know what I mean? And the record speaks for itself because a lot of people would have fought him, and he could have fought some tough guys, but he declined. He didn't fight Laurie, he didn't fight Ward. God knows who else he ducked. He probably, so obviously he ducked a lot of people because we haven't seen him fight anybody elite in the business. Just journeyman fighters. Now, get back to him and Book. Now, most for the most part, you could say the same thing about Book that I'm saying about Triple G. He hasn't really fought anybody except for one. You have to give him credit for that one. He did take the title from Porter, and Porter is no joke because Porter's the kind of fighter. It's another great fighter. Of this generation, a top fighter. You know what I mean? He's a guy. So you can't. Let's put it to you like this: Porter can beat anybody in the middleweight division on any given day if they come in there slipping. Okay, you can't go in there slipping against Porter. You will lose. He's not a joke. Okay, he's a serious fighter who knows how to fight and can fight and will take you out if you go in there playing. So you can at any given day he can be anybody in the welterweight division if he catch them right. So that's the kind of fighter he is, and Book beat him. So you gotta give Book credit for that. Okay, there's no similar fighter on Triple G's record. There's no fighter on Triple G's record that's of the quality equivalently, you know, to uh, Porter. Okay, so we can't, so at least we have seen Book in one good fight, but the rest of his record is basically the same as Triple G. Okay, bunch of guys who don't really rate. Okay, and in his case, I can see that a lot of people probably ducking him because he's a big welterweight, and so I can see that he can legitimately say people have been ducking him. He hasn't been ducking people because he seems like a kind of guy who wants the big fight, who wants to fight the big fights, but people probably ducking him. When he got a chance to fight Porter, he didn't have no hesitation. He came to America and fought him and took the title and went home with it. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of fighter he is. You know what I mean? So I got to respect him for that. Now, again, Triple G is a decent fighter from what I can see. Okay, and I would go even so far as to say a good fighter. Okay, based on what I can see, and not because of the opponents he has fought, because he hasn't fought anybody, but the little that I can see it, that what he can do from the people that he's been fighting, I can tell you that he has the fundamentals, which is very important. The fundamentals down. What do I mean by that? Well, the jab. He stays behind that jab. It's like his shield, and that's what he's supposed to be. Okay, the jab is one of the most effective weapons in the boxing business if you know how to use it. You can use that to win a lot of fights. Okay, and he uses the jab with gusto, like you should. You're supposed to. He doesn't play with the jab. The jab, he uses the jab as the weapon that it is, and that's one good thing about him. Okay. The next thing is he he doesn't just headhunt. He's a body man. He goes to the body as well as the head, which is a balanced attack, which is another good fundamental. People gotta learn. A lot of people don't do that. They're always headhunting. Just like Book. That's one fault on Book's side. He's always headhunting. You don't really see him go to the body too much. Okay, uh, which is a flaw. You shouldn't. You must go to the body. Look, even Mayweather goes to the body. All the time. You know what I mean? So you got to go to the body more, Book, and that's one good thing about Triple G. So those fundamentals, and then the rest of it is like the way he cut the ring off, his balance and all that. Good, solid. So, but the fact is that even with all that, we haven't really seen him flustered because he hasn't really fought any in a real competition so we can see him being tested, taken to the deep waters. We haven't seen that with Triple G, so we don't know what he can really do because he hasn't really fought anybody. You know what I mean? And so hopefully this fight would be an opportunity for us to see what both of these guys are made of, because It's an opportunity for Triple G to show what he's made of, and it's the same thing with Brook. Now, Brook have the tougher job because he's coming up against the so-called most feared man in boxing. Feared for what I don't know. Because no matter how strong you are, as a fighter, if you can't hit the opponent, then you can't win. It's just that simple. I mean, Mayweather is the proof, a living proof of that. Okay, you can be as strong as the ox, but if you can't hit your opponent, now look at Mayweather. If you can keep your opponent to a below 20% ratio in terms of punches landed to punches missed, and they're missing 80% of their punches and only landing 20% or below, sometimes 15%. At the same time, you're landing 50, 60, 70% of your punches, then you're going to win every time. I mean, that's just common sense. So defense, you can win on defense alone. And Mayweather has done that his whole career. One uses defense to win. Okay? Because if the person is only hitting you 18% of the time and you're hitting them 50% of the time, then it's a no-brainer who's going to win that fight. So you have to land a punch to win. And if you can't hit the person, you can't win. It's just that simple. Okay? So at the end of the day, you know, I don't really, you know, see. I mean, all right, let me just say this. Book's defense is not the best. Okay? So he might have a problem with Triple G because uh, he gets hit and his ratio is not the same as Mayweather or Andre Ward or Lomachenko or any one of those guys. He gets hit, okay, and he's kind of lazy in there to a certain degree with the defense. Sometimes he's in the pocket too long, and but his biggest thing that he does is the head hunting. They're always head hunting, which is not good, man. You got to go to the body sometimes. You make your work a lot easier if you go to the body a lot. The body is there for a reason. It's there to be hit. It's easier to hit the body than the head. So you need to go to the body more. And the next thing he does, sometimes I see him throwing punches. He throw a lot of wild punches, stay in the pocket too long, and looping punches. Sometimes instead of straight down the pipe, straight down the middle. Like he kind of try to loop them. I mean, yeah, sometimes you have to do that, but I mean, you got to be careful of that. You miss more than you hit when you do it when you punch like that. You gotta, like you gotta punch the way like Mayweather, like the way Ward. These guys are. You gotta watch these guys and and see how they really put it on you. So we see that Book, what although he's a good boxer, good movement, uh, you know, uh, great speed, but he does have a few flaws, and that could be exploited by Triple G. Like I said, he doesn't do a lot of body punching, and he tend to stay in the pocket a little bit too long sometimes, and he throws some wild punches sometimes too. And that's not good. And if you're gonna do that against Triple G, if you're gonna get hit with Triple G, it doesn't make no sense to go in the ring and talk about, oh, I'm gonna, it's like, you don't want to test your chin against anybody. I mean, if you go in the ring and never your chin, if you could go to all your fights and your chin never be tested, that's the ultimate. You know what I'm saying? That's what you should aim for. Why you want to go in there and try to test your chin for what? That's a foolhardy thing. So the best thing for Book to go in there and do is use the jab, use his mobility, his movement. He's gonna have to put it on Triple G in the beginning to make Triple G respect him, and the best time to do that is at the beginning of the fight. Okay, as soon as you get in the ring, and while he's at he's strong, and but don't go in there and try to slug it out with Triple G. Try to prove how big you are because you're bigger now. You think you're stronger. You can go in there, even though you might be, because we don't really know what this weight thing has done for him. Because I was watching him, when he's in the ring doing that little workout there in England, and he looks faster, which is kind of strange. To move up 2 weights and look faster than you was when you was welterweight. That was I was like, whoa, what the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? I was like, whoa. I mean, I was like, whoa. You think he's slow, but no, he looks faster than. And then he looks big and strong. I mean, he looked very strong and very. And I saw him moving around the ring. I was like, whoa, this guy. If he really is faster than he was, and it's more than likely that the added weight has given more punching power as well. So he can probably really hurt Triple G if he goes in there, and if that additional weight has made him stronger, and made it, and increase his punching power. That might be the wild card in that fight, because he looks pretty strong to me. And I hope he hasn't been lifting any weights though, because a lot of fighters do that, and that's a no-no. And people, I don't know why people lift weights to be. I don't get it. In boxing, it just slows you down. You don't need all muscle on top of muscle. You have to be fluid. Look at Triple G. Triple G's not overly muscular. You know what I mean? He got like swimmer's muscles. He has muscles, but they're not bulging muscles. So I can see he probably don't lift a lot of weights, which you're not supposed to as a boxer, because it just slows you down and make you tight and make you prone to injury. You need to be loose like a swimmer when you as a boxer. You have to be loose. Okay, so all this tightness is not good as a boxer. These muscles on top of muscle, it doesn't help you as a boxer. You know, it just slows you down if anything. Too much mass. So uh, now the question is, will Book be able to stay away from Triple G? Will he be able to frustrate Triple G? And will he be able to make Triple G respect him? That's going to be the test when he goes into that ring. And if he can do that, he can win this fight fairly easily. And as a matter of fact, if he's as strong as I think he might be, from what I can see, the little I saw of him, he might be able to knock out Triple G. I mean, it's not that Triple G is impossible to knock him out. Nobody ever really going in there and trying to knock him out. But he's there to be knocked out, because he can be hit. And if you can be hit, you can be knocked out. I don't care how tough your chin is. You know what I mean? So uh, if there was an increase in strength and punching power with the weight that Book put on, Triple G might be in for a long night or a short night, depending on how you look at it. So we'll have to see. But I'm gonna have to go with the boxer, because I always do, because I don't really believe that weight and size and all that having to do with fighting to that much. I mean, it has something to do with it, but not as much as people might think. I've been a good boxer. I would go with a good boxer against a strong puncher, or a slugger. You know what I mean? Even though Triple G is not a slugger, he's a boxer. Cause like I explained to you earlier, he has the fundamentals down, and he's just a good, solid guy who knows the fundamentals, and execute them in the ring. But again, anybody can execute the fundamentals. Well, I don't say anybody, but uh, executing those fundamentals against the guys, the quality of the opponents he has been fighting is not hard to do. Okay, so can he do that against elite boxers? Would he be able to do that against a Lara, or Mayweather, or a Canelo, or one of the elite people in the game, or a Jacobs. Jake was pretty good at boxing himself. Uh, so would he be able to do that against guys that can really box and move? Okay, and so I don't know, but we have seen him do it against the level of opponent he has had. So I don't know if he can do it against more elite fighters. I mean, at the end of the day, if people talk about how great this guy is, but if he's that great, move up and fight some. Get some real challenge. If you're that good, move up, fight somebody. Your own. Go up to super middleweight, and see what's up there. Test the water. Look at what Andre Ward did. Andre Ward went up, and he's getting ready to fight Kovalev. That you daring to be great. You know, Book is went up from welterweight to fight you at middleweight. That's daring to be great. If this guy is the most feared boxer in the world, or in the history of boxing, how come he just he's not fighting anybody? I mean, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't buy the hype, man. It's all hype, and I think that if Book go in there and do what he's supposed to do, it'd be a relatively easy fight for him because even though Triple G had the fundamentals down, the level of his opponent, have kept him. I don't think has benefited him in terms of getting the real good experience he needs to when he really comes into a tough fight. But maybe his amateur career prepared him for that. So because he had a long amateur career, but amateur and professional is two different things. But you can't really count out all those fights that he had. I think he had like something like 300 fights as an amateur or something like that, something ridiculous, like a lot of fights. So he's a fighter. What I mean, but again, the level of his opponents have been very shoddy at best, and that doesn't really prepare you, to fight tough fights in the end. He just, you just because he had never had to really fight any tough fights. He just mostly easy fights, so that's what he's used to. So when the tough one come along, you're gonna be out of the, you're gonna be like, whoa, what the hell is this? So we'll see. It should be a good fight, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick. I'm gonna have to pick Book to win based on what I've seen with him against Porter. Because Porter is a very athletic guy, like I said, and he went after Book, but he just couldn't take him out. And he's not. I mean, you know, he's not no Triple G in terms of punching power, but like I said already, he's not a joke either. You go in there against him, and you're not with your A game, you out of there. He will take you out like he did Broner. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what it is. And Porter is one of the top guys in the welterweight division. So, for him to get beaten by Book is a big deal. It wasn't an easy fight. Book is, I mean, Porter is no pushover by a long shot. Okay, so I mean, for Book to beat him, it says a lot about Book. Okay, especially if, from what I hear and from what I can see that, he was struggling to make weight all the time. So most of the time he was at his best. He was, so if you can beat Book under those circumstances, believe me, he's a tough cookie. So it should be an interesting fight, and I'm gonna pick Book to win by points. Win by decision. You know, uh, you know, uh, yeah, I'm gonna pick him for the unanimous decision, and he might if the knockout might present itself, so he could possibly uh, knock out Triple G because Triple G can be touched, and if you can be touched, you can be knocked out. Simple as that. That's just the way it is. And the same goes for Book too. If Triple G touch him, he's out of there. Okay, so you gotta fight a fight where movement, jab, 2-3 combination, movement, 2-3 combination. You know, uh, because again, some like all right, if you remember the Mayweather and Canelo fight, you saw that there were times where well, for most of the fight actually, Canelo Mayweather was the one in the center of the ring. Okay, and he commanded the center of the ring. He commanded the real estate of the ring most of the time, most of the fight. As a matter of fact, there were points. There were some times where I saw him. Uh, Canelo came forward and tried to push him back in terms of just firing punches and just imposing himself on him. And Mayweather just stood his ground, and just fought. Slugged it out with Canelo practically. But he's not a slugger. He didn't slug it out. He just stood his ground, didn't back up, and made Canelo back up sometimes. A lot of times, and because he's that good at slipping punches. So even though Canelo was right in front of him trying to wing some shot, he was just slipping the punches and just hitting and then making Canelo pay every time he missed, which is what you got to do. So if Book can do that, he can win this fight relatively easy. Like I said before, I say it again. It's all about missing, having the person miss, and you hitting. If you make your opponent miss, and especially if you keep them for the ratio of 20 to 18 to 17% while you landing 50, 60%, then you got to win the fight. It's just that simple, you know. And I will say it's about Book though. I haven't really seen him get hit a solid punch because he does. like he kind of pull back, like he gets hit but he doesn't get hit solidly, like he's always moving away, trying to slip the punch, but he's just not a good defense as a Ward or a Mayweather, and he's not as good a technical fighter like as Ward or Mayweather. Technical, when it comes to the technical aspect of it, I don't really see him. He got the frame and the build, of a good, like you see his torso is very long, and his arms are, he got good reach, and all of that. He got the build of a fighter, but uh, in terms of technical ability, he's not. I wouldn't rate him as good as Mayweather or Porter, but he's no slouch either. You know what I mean? So he got skills, and he's not afraid to use them. So I'm gonna go with Book for this fight. Decision or a knockout, possibly a knockout could happen, because I think that uh, Triple G is gonna really press him, and if he press him, I think he's gonna counter punch the hell out of Triple G. He got the speed, he got the power. I think at this weight probably, and I think that I think he might be able to knock out Triple G. He might just shock the world and knock Triple G out. So we'll see how that works out. All right, the Liam Smith Canelo fight. I think that it's gonna be. It could be a tough fight for Canelo, because I've seen this guy Liam and he looks pretty good. I watched a couple of his fights, and he looked like a pretty good fighter, a little inexperienced, somewhat slower than probably slower than Canelo, but he's a strong, kid. Look tall, strong, and he looked like he's coming to win. I don't think he have any doubts about the fact that he might be able to win this fight. But again, you know his level of his opponents hasn't been the same as who Canelo has fought. I mean, that could make all the difference in the world, because Canelo has fought the best. I don't care who Liam Smith is. He's not Mayweather, and he's not Lara, and he's not Cotto, and and all these guys got beat by Canelo. So uh, Canelo should be able to, with his experience, even though he's a young guy, with all the experience that he's had so far, he should be able to take this fight against this kid, because he's been against some of the best fighters, and he should know what to do to counteract whatever this guy is doing. So he should be able to take this fight. And so I'm gonna have to go with Canelo on this one. Uh, Even though I think that that guy Liam Smith have a chance. There's a chance he could win, because he got the tools. I think because he's pretty, he's pretty strong. He can punch. He can box a little bit. I don't think he's as good a boxer as Canelo, but he does. He's strong, and he's a tough kid, and he got the height, and so he might present a problem for Canelo. But again, with the experience that Canelo has had against the kind of opponents he has fought up to this point, I don't think there's anything that Liam is going to bring that he hasn't seen already. You understand? So he should be able to deal with this guy Liam. So I'm gonna have to go with him on that one, probably by knockout, because I don't think Liam is the kind of guy who's going to be backing away from him. I think he's going to take it right to him, and I think it's going to be a big clash. And I think Canelo is probably going to knock him out, or he's going to knock out Canelo, one or the other. I don't think that fight's going to go the distance. You know, so that's my prediction. Edge to Canelo, but it can go either way. But I'm gonna have to give the edge to Canelo because of his experience, because of his pedigree, because of what I've seen of him so far, and I think he might be able to. But he should be able to beat this kid. But you never know how these things might work. But I'm giving it to. I'm gonna go with Canelo on this one. Okay, I'm gonna go Book on the other one. So Book and Canelo. That's my pick. Canelo by a knockout, Book by decision or by knockout, depends on how it goes. So we'll see what happens. Can't wait for the fight.